Mr. Lamborn.
Mr. Chairman, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
I rise today in strong support of H.R. 1644, the Supporting Transparent Regulatory and Environmental Actions in Mining Act, or the STREAM Act for short. The STREAM Act has three goals. First, it establishes a requirement for scientific transparency and integrity in any rulemaking conducted by the Office of Surface Mining. We'll be calling that OSM during our debate, under the authority of the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act of 1977. Some people call that SMCRA. In the past, the Office of Surface Mining, OSM, has sought to promulgate rules based on internal studies that are not made public. The first section of H.R. 1644, the STREAM Act, ensures transparency by requiring OSM to publish all scientific products it relies on in the rulemaking process. For federally funded scientific products, the STREAM Act requires OSM to also publish raw data. If a scientific product is withheld from the public for more than 6 months, then the rule, environmental analysis, or economic assessment it supports will be withdrawn. The second goal is to require an independent third-party assessment of the existing 1983 rule, which we're operating under right now, to determine if any deficiencies exist. The purpose of the independent study is to mitigate the polarization of this issue. As such, the STREAM Act requires the Secretary of the Interior, in consultation with the Interstate Mining Compact Commission, to contract with the National Academy of Sciences to conduct a study of the 1983 Stream Buffer Zone Rule. Mr. Chairman, could you have the House be in order, please?
The committee will be in order. Take your conversations outside of the chamber. Gentleman is recognized.
This study will examine the effectiveness of the existing 1983 rule by the National Academy of Sciences and make recommendations for improving the rule if necessary. The Secretary is prohibited from issuing any regulations addressing stream buffer zones or stream protection until 1 year after the completion of this study, and is required to take into consideration the findings and recommendations of the study. This element of the STREAM Act is important because it ensures that the 24 states with primacy over surface mining will have input on the study. Unfortunately, beginning in 2011, OSM completely shut out states under the rulemaking process, even though OSM had signed memoranda of understanding with 10 cooperating states in 2010, and one other state signing on as a commentator. According to OSM, states permit and regulate 97% of the nation's coal production. States and tribes also abate well over 90% of the abandoned mine land problems, and that's in the words of OSM. The expertise for understanding the Stream Protection Rule and other regulations promulgated under the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act lies with the states, not with OSM. Yet the states were completely cut out of the regulating process. And the third goal, finally, of H.R. 1644 is to inhibit OSM's regulatory overreach by curtailing regulatory action that would duplicate, enforce, or determine compliance with laws that are outside of OSM's jurisdiction. An expressed concern relating to the ongoing Stream Buffer Zone Rule rewrite is that OSM has sought to interpret and enforce the Clean Water Act, which is outside of its authority, by establishing a new set of water quality monitoring, evaluation standards, and procedures. In fact, the draft rule amends 475 existing rules promulgated under SMCRA, the Surface Mining Act. OSM used the rulemaking process to rewrite the Surface Mining Control Act and went well outside of Congress's intent in writing that law. Also, and this is amazingly short-sighted for our economic and energy future as a country, the draft rule released in July 2015 would freeze or sterilize more than 60% of the nation's coal reserves. If the draft rule as written is finalized, the administration will expose the U.S. taxpayer to takings litigation. This has happened before. An example would be the Whitney Benefits case in Wyoming that involved a regulatory taking of coal reserves that underlie alluvial material. So passage of the STREAM Act will halt this destructive rulemaking process and provide an avenue for a collaborative approach to address deficiencies in the existing rule, if any, with the primacy states. It will save jobs and it will protect the American taxpayer. With that, Mr. Chairman, I reserve the balance of my time.